we go. Hello, hello. It was very good, wasn't it? Yeah. Right, that's all from me. I'll pass back to Matt with the mic, because the audio quality here is going to be terrible. But it was cracking. Yeah. So that was me at the concert and everything. It was quite weird filming that in public, actually. I've never vlogged in public before until now. And it was an interesting experience. I was getting a lot of funny looks and everything. So yeah, as I said, I went to see the XX last night in Cardiff with my good mate Tim Ster. His channel's down in the description. He's got 71 subs, which is 62 more than me. I've got 9 at the moment. Yeah, that is right maths. I'm doing A-level maths. I really should know that. So yeah, so we went to see the XX and they were fantastic. I'm just going to put that out there now. It was a very exciting show. Really. It was interesting to see what they were like live, because I know a lot of their music is quite sparse and everything, and quite sort of minimalist, let's just put it like that. Not minimalist is in the technical sense like Steve Reich minimalist, but like sort of very sort of just a guitar and a bass and some sort of very sort of quiet percussion that is signature, especially with their first album. I think they're a lot more electronic lately, but on their newer album. But obviously, if you want to hear me talking about that, I did a review of it about a month ago. You know, I'll put the link for that in the description too, so you know, check out the description box, it's full of goodies. So I was very intrigued to see a couple of things really. Firstly, you know, how the vocal interplay will work live, because that's obviously a very characteristic element of their music. But also, in particular, Jamie XX, what he'd do live, because I know a lot of his music is very electronic, and there's always a massive debate as to how that's played live and everything. I've watched him play his Boiler Room set on YouTube, the Young Turks Boiler Room set, and that was excellent. But I didn't really think he'd replicate that here, because it's all of his own stuff as opposed to other people's stuff, and he wouldn't have that all on vinyl records. So I was curious to see what he'd do and everything. We got there, we got to Cardiff. It was a pretty miserable evening and everything, which was a bit of a shame, but oh well. We got inside and everything. We had a £5 pizza for tea. Yeah, that's right. Could have got a £3 deal from Tesco's, but you know, we chose the £5 pizza, and it's just one like quarter of a pepperoni pizza with 3 bits of pepperoni on it. For a £5. So that puts things into perspective, doesn't it? But oh well, there you go, that's what you expect from concert food. We went inside, we arrived there about 7:45 and everything. By that point the support act had already started playing. They were a band called Alpines. I'd never really heard of them, but I think the XX and them are quite close and everything, and they go way back. And so yeah, it was intriguing to see what they had to offer to, you know, moisten the palate a bit before the main act come on, as the support acts generally do. And they were pretty good. I really enjoyed them actually. I'm going to have to check out their stuff. So there you go, Alpines, look them up. They're very good. Sort of electronic kind of stuff. They had 2 keyboard players and a drummer and then a female vocalist. I don't know any of their names or anything like that. But that was enjoyable, and that sort of warmed everything up. But then we had about sort of a half an hour, 45-minute break before the XX came on and everything. And it felt like ages, because it always does at concerts, you know, the anticipation builds and everything. People are getting excited, more and more people there. We got quite a good spot actually, I think. I was quite impressed with the spot we got. It's better than the one I got at the Reading Festival, so put it like that. So yeah, there were a few songs came on, you know, that sort of thing, just to, you know, keep the mood alive. A bit of Björk at one point, that was much appreciated. Very heavy sub bass, but there you go. And then they came on, the lights dropped, everyone went a bit quiet, and then they went really noisy, woo, and all that kind of stuff, you know, as they do at concerts. And on came the XX, and there we go, we were all excited. So they opened up the set with Say Something Loving, which is the second single from their first album. They just released a music video for it actually. That was a good way to start the set, I think. I was expecting them to start with Dangerous actually, I don't know why, but they played that a little bit later on. I think just because it's more upbeat and everything. So we had Say Something Loving. This was followed by Crystallised and Islands. If this was a woman, that's a risk I by this point, everyone was, there was some, as I don't know, the cool kids would put it, some good vibes. I wouldn't say that personally, but there we go. So we had Crystallised and Islands and everything. Then we had Lips. So some of the real upbeat sort of more well-known songs mixed in with the better songs from their album, really, to really get the set going. And that was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. Islands was a dancey affair. That's probably the closest the crowd got to really having a full-on sort of dance. I mean, it's the XX. It's not that dancey. Probably increasingly so, but still, it's hardly like, I don't know, with Avicii, is it? The majority of this stuff they played was either off their first album, the self-titled, the XX, or their new album, I See You. They played 4 songs, I think, 4 or 3 songs off Coexist. And they were some of the better songs, actually, in the concert, actually. I really enjoyed Sunset. Sunset they did a really good rendition of that. I think they changed the key of it a little bit, down a semitone or something. And that really worked. That was really nice. Performance off their new album, that was one of my favourite performances of the evening. That was really cool. It was just Romy on her own with her guitar and everything. They didn't have the string section. I thought perhaps Jamie XX would like play a backing track or something. I don't know how he'd do that, but I don't know, maybe he'd have that recorded. But no, it's just solo guitar and Romy singing, and that was really nice. That really stood out for me.
I put on a performance. I put on a show. It is a performance. I do it a whole song.
Another standout performance was Shelter. That's it. Shelter. Now, Shelter was one of my least favourite songs off their first album, actually. It was at the point... I know it's one of the signature XX songs, but I've never really liked that one as much as some of their other songs. And I'll tell you, the live rendition of it was just brilliant. At this point, Jamie XX was really getting into it, and for about 3 songs he sort of mixed them together like he would have done in his Boiler Room set or something like that. Starting off with Dangerous, which Oliver Sim admitted is one of his favourite songs to play live, and I can understand why. It's fantastic. So yeah, so we had Dangerous, and that mixed into a bit of an instrumental where he'd just do his own thing for a bit. And then eventually we got Shelter, and it's just so different from the studio version. I've got a clip of it here. Yeah, it's with the drum beats and everything, and obviously it had like virtually no percussion at all in the real album version, and that was really cool, and everyone was going wild to it, and it really worked. I think the percussion really worked really well with it and everything. Another standout song for me was Infinity, again off their first album. The way it built up there, there's a bit in Infinity where they go, I can't give it up. You'll know what I mean if you've heard the song. It's about the 9th track off their first album. And they really built it up really well. Now, Jamie XX, his setup is fantastic. At one point you can see it, because they have this like, glass sort of pane. You'll see it in some of the videos, some of the excerpts. And you can see like his whole setup and everything. So we had like these 2 Akai samplers and everything, like MPC type things. Yeah, like a keyboard to his left, these toms and everything, which you could just play on and everything, a low tom at his side and everything. He just had this one crash cymbal, like nothing else, just a one sort of cymbal there, and he just play it, and it like whilst doing all this percussion thing. I think a lot of it he just played live through the sample pads. He didn't have it pre-recorded. And on Infinity, he used this crash cymbal to great effect. Really, it just whacked the hell out of it. It's brilliant. I've never seen him get that animated in a performance, because he's quite laid back. He's quite sort of reserved. Infinity was a favourite of mine. The way it built up and the atmosphere in the crowd at that point was absolutely fantastic. Everyone was just going wild. It was brilliant. Then we sort of had another sort of solo bit from Jamie XX and everything. This went into Loud Places, which is one of the songs off his solo album, In Colour, which I said I needed to review, and I do need to review because it's a cracking album. And that had Romy featured on it, so it was effectively an XX song. And they played it at the end, and that was a wonderful way to sort of finish out the first bit before the encore. Absolutely fantastic. There's a clip of it here. And the lighting also I really liked at this point. It was all rainbows, like the aesthetic of the In Colour sort of logo and everything. And when everyone was singing higher, you know, again, the atmosphere, as I was talking about in Infinity, really worked really well here. And it was really exciting actually to watch. I've never seen people get so excited about such sort of, well, arguably quiet music. At this point it wasn't quiet, it was really, like the sub bass, you could feel it. Really, it's like an earthquake. I've never heard sub bass like it. So that was a really good way to finish out the sort of the main bulk of the show. Then they went off. Romy and Oliver went off, and it was just Jamie for a bit on his own. And then he just sort of left it just a kick drum beat. So that was effectively like the pause between them going off and coming back on. It's just then Jamie XX came back on and did his own solo bit. He just was just playing on the pads and everything, and then slowly incorporated the Hall & Oates sample from On Hold into this sort of instrumental sort of breakdown type thing. Romy and Oliver come back on and they play On Hold, and it's the best song of the night. It's absolutely fantastic.
You found it could be love. I think you're too soon to call us off. When I'm ready, we go. I thought I had you on hold. Every time I let you leave, I always saw you coming back to me. When I'm ready, we go. I thought I had you on.
So we had On Hold, and then they finished with Intro and Angels, so two of the quieter songs, and it was a really nice way to finish. The fact that they played Intro directly after On Hold really juxtaposed one against another. The new sound of the XX versus the old sound, because Intro, of course, was the first track off their first album. And the way these two compared to one another, it was really interesting, just to see how far they've come, really, more than anything. And then they finished with Angels, and Angels is one of my favourite XX songs. It's off Coexist, which isn't my favourite album by them, but that song really stands out for me. It's a beautiful song. I don't know what effects Romy Madley Croft has on a guitar. It's like a ton of sort of reverb delay, but it's tasteful. It's not like over the top, and it's just a beautiful effect on this guitar, and it just rang out, and it's just a beautiful moment. Sort of about halfway through the song, you just had Jamie was just playing on the low tom to the left of him and everything, and that worked really well. I wasn't expecting it because it's not a very percussive song, but that worked really nicely. And yeah, it was just a lovely way to finish the set and everything. The atmosphere was really nice. I think they didn't really interact with the crowd that much. I think they did sort of about every sort of 5 songs or so. But they came across as really nice people and everything, and it was a brilliant atmosphere created. So anyway, I would give the concert marks out of 10. I'll give it an 8. I think the only thing it could have improved on is that perhaps we could have heard more from Coexist. As much as I prefer the other 2 albums, it's still a good album. I think we could have heard some more songs from that, like Our Song. I think that would have been really nice. I mean, Angels was much appreciated. There are a couple of songs missing from the new album that I would have liked to have heard as well. Replica. I know I said that Replica was a bit of a filler song in the review of the album, but it's really grown on me now, actually, and I really like that one. I think that would have been really nice. And Test Me as well. I think that would have been a lovely song to have included. So there was definitely some gaps that could have been filled. Perhaps it could have lasted a bit longer. I don't know. But then at least you left wanting more that way, which is nice. But anyway, I think an 8 out of 10 is a solid mark, because it was a solid concert. 4 out of 5 stars. I'll give it that. So that's my verdict on it. I really enjoyed the concert, and I'd recommend you go and see them if you haven't already and you're a fan and everything. So there we go. Thanks for watching everything. I hope you enjoyed my review. So